Man, I'm super excited to have you on. We've known each other for like what 5-6 years now, something in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh man, I met you, what, 2016, 2017, something like that.
Yeah, in that neighborhood.
So it's been a good bit, but yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you very much for having me. It's a good time.
Of course, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So why don't we get started with I'm always curious, where did you grow up, and like what was kind of your introduction to games, and what did you think you were going to do when you were younger?
Yeah, so I grew up in South Florida in a little like suburban town called Coral Springs. Didn't do anything, I don't know, particularly out of the ordinary. Like I guess I didn't do much of the ordinary stuff. Like I didn't really do sports or anything like that. At some point, I did Taekwondo when I was younger, and one of the years that they had our summer camp, some kids brought in their Xbox, and I picked up Halo 1 and 2, and got my ass kicked a little bit, but definitely introduced me to the world of games outside of I don't know board games and stuff, like was all I had known before that, or like Mario. And from that point I was hooked. I was a big fan, and I'm not sure if I've talked to you about this, but I also have Tourette's, and video games have always been something that have helped me handle that, and has been a comforting thing for me. So video games very quickly became a very important part of my life. And from that time, I was hoping to end up in this, but wasn't sure if it was something I could do. I didn't know how to get into it. I didn't know anyone who had done it. I actually, I remember in elementary school even wanting to either work at Bungie or work whoever made Halo. At the time, it was, Bungie doing both, so
right.
Didn't make a difference. But as it went on, either 343 or Bungie were kind of where I was aiming, and ending up at Bungie was very nice. I did not expect to end up there just yet. I thought it was going to be a little further down the line. So I'd been hoping for this for a long time, but was fully expecting to have to do like other things in the meantime, and I'm a person with like 1,000,001 interests, so I had plenty of other ideas of what I might do.
So I love that you got to get to your dream place early. Like that's not true for most, right? And some never. But I am curious, what other kind of things were you interested in if you felt like this was kind of a long shot?
One of my biggest interests in life in general is like learning stuff. So like I spend a lot of my free time just learning anything and everything. I was really interested for a long time in engineering. I really like building things, taking things apart. My like stable job that I had outside of, while I was trying to get into games and stuff like that, and even towards the later portion of high school, I did electronics repair. So I like took stuff apart, put stuff together, fixed things. I wanted to do something in engineering if this didn't pan out, or even as a way to kind of make ends meet until it pans out.
Nice.
So that was one of the major things that I was aiming for if it wasn't this. I also just like art in general, so if I ended up in anything art, I would have been pretty happy. But games was the main one, and I didn't know what in games until college, but games in general I knew was something that was very, very important to me.
That's really cool. I did something similar growing up. There was no avenue to learn to make games, so I did the PC repair, building machines, networking, that kind of stuff. And so similar kind of thing where it's like, I want to at least be close. I want to figure out something near games if I can. But that was also for me, in the 80s and early 90s when you were you were not even thought of yet. So so as you're getting older and you're in high school and starting to think about college, at that point did you start to narrow in toward games, or were you still kind of not sure?
Yeah, throughout that time, I was really hoping for games, but I didn't know how to do that. And towards the later half of high school, I don't remember if it was junior or senior year, um, I decided to like sit down and actually figure out, how do you go to school for games? Like, what do you have to do to make that happen? Or if you even need school, like what's the solution? Um, And in my hunt for stuff, I ended up stumbling upon Full Sail, which is how we met. Yeah, I stumbled upon that, and it seemed like a really cool place. Was trying to decide between the game design and the game development degrees because I didn't really know the difference at the time.
Yeah.
Ended up going to one of the tour things. I think I learned afterwards that was a tour that you get to go on after you've already been accepted, which I did not understand.
Oh.
I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a neat little tour. But yeah, that's when I figured out design seemed to be something that touched on a lot of different things. And since I didn't know what specifically I wanted, I just knew I wanted games. That seemed like the avenue for me. But yeah, just trying to do some research, figuring out, what might work for my needs and desires to end up here. And Full Sail ended up being the one. I think I got like a postcard in the mail is how I like initially learned about it. And I was like, this seems neat. This is convenient.
Huh. That's really interesting. Yeah, I was really curious about that since what you're now doing is obviously art focused. Mm-hmm. Were you presented at all with an option of art and animation or anything like that when you were looking at Full Sail, or did you just you focused in on the design side and development side?
Yeah, game art I knew was an option, and I thought it was interesting, and I did like art, but I wasn't sure if my strength in the games world would be art or art related. And I figured since game design touched on so many things, that would be my chance to not only see if the art thing was my thing, but also see if the design thing was my thing or the programming thing was my thing. Because I touched on some programming before going to Full Sail as well, just out of personal interest and curiosity.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I saw the different avenues that were a little more specific, but because of my lack of a decision, game design seemed to be the best decision to get what I needed out of it.
It seems like it's worked out so far. So
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I've also learned that apparently most VFX artists don't start as VFX artists, so I'm kind of par for the course.
So that let's talk a little bit about that, because there is not a great place to learn VFX, period. Mm-hmm. Like Keith Tourette that owns Beyond FX, and then DJ that has his own place in Savannah. We talk about this a lot. Like, there's no schooling for it specifically. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about Full Sail. Like, I've talked to them about, hey, you really should look at this, because like VFX artists get hired easily right now because you can't find enough of you guys.
Yeah, I talk to that with my coworkers all the time about, how one thing that was like echoed to me a lot when I started talking to instructors about how this was something I was interested in is how there's so many studios looking for VFX artists, and there's never enough VFX artists to fill the role. And it's tough because I haven't been around in the industry for very long, but to me it seems like previously VFX wasn't necessarily its own bespoke role. Like, it would be taken over by tech artists or character artists or whatever other artists or whoever just had the knowledge to do the job. It seems like more recently it's become its own field of specialists doing that stuff. So it seems like not a lot of schools have really done anything to work on that. I only know of one. It's because we actually work with that school on, I think we help develop curriculum or like review curriculum and stuff like that. It's called DigiPen, I think.
Oh, okay. DigiPen's doing it. Good.
Yeah. And I think one or two of my coworkers actually graduated from DigiPen with VFX degrees. A couple of my other coworkers went through like film VFX stuff. but most of my coworkers were like animators or tech artists or something like that in the past, and then made the transition into VFX specifically.
Nice.
I have one coworker that was even a producer before they became a VFX artist, like not even involved at all with this work.
Man, that is so interesting to me. I'm glad that schools are starting to do it. I don't know if you know this, but when I first ended up at Full Sail, it was 1999, and there was only 2 places that had game curriculums at all, and Digipen was the other one. So that was literally the only 2 places you could learn to make games, and it's wild. And the program I did was design and development. It was both of them together, so it was a wild time. But
yeah, I've heard development's pretty tough, so I'm sure that was quite the ride.
Yeah, especially like I was in one of the first classes, so we did a whole lot of like, you could tell that they were figuring out the curriculum, and that kind of stuff. Like it was all super valuable and sometimes a little too much. But man, it was intense, but obviously also worked out. So I'm very happy. But yeah, man, VFX artists, like there's probably going to be a time soon where we're going to get a whole bunch of you, right? We're going to train up a whole bunch, and then we're going to end up with a more reasonable amount. But like right now, from what I hear from everybody, it's like name your price as a VFX artist. So like it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, I had a coworker that he moved on to some new place making like $250 a year, and I was like, oh my god.
You're like, tell me more. No.
That's not a real number. What are you talking about?
That's quite the number. Yeah, that's
wild.
Man. But it's so like every role that we have in game development is super important, right? And when you get, not only if it's hard to get someone and you get the right person, that it's worth whatever they need to make, and like it's true across all the positions in the industry, but it's more so when it's harder to fill that spot. And probably a lot of companies fighting for people too right now. Yeah,
I know any of my coworkers that have been relatively public facing, like having like large social media presences or anything like that, like well known in the games world, they have their pick of whatever they want, wherever they want, pretty much. If you're known to do good work and known in general, you got plenty of offers coming in all the time.
Yeah, then it's just a matter of like weighing which direction you want to go all the time. Man. So let's back up a little bit, and you're now decided you're going to do game design, and you head to campus, and because there was an online option, what made you decide to go to campus?
I've always been someone who really liked, being self-sufficient and being on my own. So like nothing against my family, but getting the chance to like live on my own sounded like a good time. So I was very excited for that. And also I had a bunch of friends who were up in the Orlando area. Like my best friend, since like third grade, something like that. He went to UCF for aerospace engineering, which is like down the road. So I would still get to hang out with him if I wasn't so introverted. I think I hung out with him a total of like 4 times, maybe.
It's better,
but it was
nothing.
Nice knowing he was there.
Yeah. So I'm the same way, man. Like I should be seeing so many more people than I do, but the combination of like work is taxing, and I need to recover. And then I also being an introvert on top of that, it's like I want to do something like once a month for real. Like once a month, I want to actually do something fun, and I got to spread that across people. The next thing I know, I haven't seen somebody in a year, and they're like, dude, where are you at? I'm like, I'm working, I promise. Like I've just been busy. But
I feel that. I'm the same way. I struggle so much to have any sort of like consistent meeting with people. The only like Logan and Blue, who were like my probably closest friends throughout college. I only saw them because they were in my classes and we would go get food together. Like, if it wasn't for us seeing each other on a day-to-day basis anyways, where we were like, it was convenient to make plans. Yeah, man, I'm so terrible at making plans. It would probably never happen.
Yeah. And then on top of that, with me, the canceled plans is like the greatest thing that ever happens. So
the rush of good feelings when you know that, oh, I can just sit in bed, I can just lay on the couch. Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, people that are not introverted in that way don't understand that joy. Like, it's true. I wanted to do it, but I was dreading it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then the second I find out that by no fault of my own, I don't have to leave the house.
Yeah, there's no guilt because you're not the one causing the canceled plans. Now you get to just like revel in the good feelings.
Oh, it's so true. It feels so good. Like, oh man. So did that pose any like issue for you with your education being introverted? Like, did you have any issues with like the collaboration aspect of it or anything like that?
I definitely have. I don't know. I'm not the most confident in my people skills usually. I know I tend to ramble, so that kind of like gets me through it. I can just talk and fill the voids in conversation.
Nice.
Even if that makes it more awkward, that's fine. At least it's not, feeling like it's quiet. Yeah, and I struggle feeling confident enough to meet new people. I usually do fine in the situation, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to second guess myself all the time. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. I think it was better for me to be on site at the school instead of online. I feel a little more awkward if I'm meeting people exclusively like through a camera for whatever reason. Seems like it should be the other way around because I'm not actually there. I could just end the call at any time and I'm like, oh no, bad internet, sorry. Yeah, something about being on site, like it's really awkward at first, but I get a lot more comfortable a lot faster. Yeah, it was funky, but I managed, and I tried not to have that deter me from going.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a vibes person, so like I like it takes longer for me to get a real vibe with someone like through digital means. 2 years into Insomniac, I haven't met any of my coworkers that I didn't already know. But it's been long enough now that we've had enough conversations and rapport. I've gotten there. Man, for the first like 6 months, it felt a bit like I was in a silo. Like I wasn't really connecting with people. So that's a tough spot.
Yeah. When our HQ's been under construction since before I started. Like right around the time the pandemic started was when we started construction. So no one was going on site. I only met people through, Teams meetings and stuff like that. So it definitely felt like, I knew these people, but I wasn't sure if we were friends. I wasn't sure if we were just coworkers. Like as I come into the office now and I see people, like I get a much faster understanding of where we sit with each other, and like, I can go get lunch with people and they don't seem like they hate the idea of going to get lunch with me. So
nice.
That's a plus.
Right.
Yeah, so having that in-person gauge, like I said, getting to know the vibes of your interactions with people can make it a lot easier to understand and feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to meet most of my team. We're doing a launch party at the end of the year for the game, and
nice.
So it'll be nice to finally I know quite a few people because there's probably 15 to 20 that I worked with previously. So like it's not like I'm in a silo, but there's 400 people or so that I've never actually met that I'm looking forward to that. So it's gonna be a little overwhelming, right? All at one time.
Yeah.
But I have to figure out ways to kind of make that happen in the right way.
Yeah, one of the other neat things that I've noticed is when I was working remote, I almost exclusively met people on my team or the teams that I support, because like why would I be talking to other people? Like I don't have a need. I'm usually just going to meetings and doing my own work. But here, like, I'm sitting out on the floor where there's like a bunch of other people collaborating on stuff, people coming over to people's desks to like work with each other on stuff. And in that process, I've already met like, I don't know, I've been working on site for like a month and I've met a bunch of new people that I never would have met otherwise, or like people that I've seen or talked to like once or twice in a meeting now I actually can like have conversations with them and like, you know, say hi, what's up, when I see them, instead of, you know, the occasional like once a month meeting where we're just silently spectating with our cameras off.
Right. Yeah. That's most of the big meetings for me.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. It's interesting. Like the split of remote work and in person and all of that is definitely making those kind of connections different. And, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm missing anything right now. Like I feel like I'm getting enough of it. And then, you know, then hopefully as I actually see people a little bit, that'll help fill in those gaps.
Yeah. I feel you on that, where I didn't feel like it was too bad, you know, being out on my own, doing stuff at my house. I just noticed over time I started being a lot lazier. And I was like, maybe I should feel the external pressure of people around me to keep me focused.
Interesting.
So far it's been working. When I was working from home, I would like every 20 minutes I'd be like, ooh, an Instagram notification, and like pull out my phone and get distracted for 20 minutes. And now, like, I struggle to even notice when my phone goes off. Like, I do feel pretty shitty because I've been terrible at responding to anyone that I talk to since I started working on site. Because now I'm just like hyper focused on everything that I'm doing. Or like I have my 1,500 meetings a day. So
that's cool. I mean, I think for some of us, it'll be figuring out what that right balance is. And you know, some people that I work with live close to the studio, but they, you know, only go in once or twice a week, you know, because they want that balance, you know, and it'd be nice to have, but I don't see myself living close enough to one of our 2 studios to do that. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I have to keep evaluating and make sure that I'm able to get that interaction in the way that I want, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when I moved out here, I moved like right down the street from the studio. So like, oh, we're gonna open up soon, and it's been like 2 years. So I've been living literally like a 5-minute walk from the studio. You know, I could throw a rock at it, but I'm working from home every day.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to actually come in finally.
Is the studio in Bellevue?
Yep, downtown Bellevue.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, we have one in Burbank and one in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they used to be like separate studios that focused on separate things, but it's all one big thing now. And like even if you're in the office, meetings are still in Zoom, you know, that kind of thing. So it's really nice that I don't feel like a second class, you know, employee. I feel like everybody's doing the same thing, no matter where you're at, which is good. Like I think it's a way to do it.
Yeah, our studio, we actually, in the middle of COVID, opened up a Seattle office for people on the west side. That's the direction. For people on the west side that didn't want to come over to the east side, it makes it a little bit easier for them. But we also, we've been opening, well, for starters, we plan on keeping remote work an option forever. We're never going to require people to come back to the office. And on top of that, we're also, as time goes on, opening more and more states for remote work forever.
Nice.
So, you know, it'd be kind of shitty for us to suddenly be like, no, come into the office. But all of our office rooms and all of our meetings and stuff are set up with that digital first mindset of like, you know, make sure all of us can work together regardless of where we are. So like all of our, like when we were setting stuff up earlier, like the other camera was the camera for the room that I'm in, which is one of our interview meeting rooms. Like they all have like, you know, TVs and cameras and speakers and microphones and stuff. So we can have a conference in this room with people online at the same time.
Nice.
And the whole studio is set up to kind of have that mindset, which is nice.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't feel like you're missing out if you're not on site or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's super important. Yeah, and like I found that I'm actually more productive in this environment than I am in person. So at least it feels that way. I'm less distracted overall, but the distractions are when I need them and how I need them. So like I'm able to like really, I'm way more comfortable. I don't have a commute, right? That's a time savings on its own. So like there's those kind of things that add up. But I think a lot of it has to do with personality and like how you really connect and what, you know, works for you.
Hmm. Yeah, that from working at home initially, I was doing really well. I was very focused. I was very on top of stuff. But I'm a sleepy person, and man, if I didn't have any meetings in the morning, that was nap time.
Yeah.
I would just sleep in, come in after lunch, and I was like, I should probably work a little harder.
So you're in school, you're at Full Sail, you're digging it, you're moving your way through. What was the first, like, so my class was around the halfway point. So leading up to that, like, how were you feeling? Were you like grasping the content? Were you starting to feel like that you were getting a better understanding of what you wanted to do, or were you like super focused on just learning what was put in front of you?
I wasn't ever explicitly looking for, is this the thing that I really like, or is that the thing that I really like? I was mostly just trying to like learn whatever was in front of me, and if it felt like something I enjoyed, then I would spend some extra time like looking into it outside of classes and stuff. Around the halfway mark when we were doing the scraps project, I was getting interested in like level design and stuff like that, which is funny because my level design was so dookie. It was so bad. I was like, oh man, this is great. I just couldn't think of a mechanic that was useful, so I just made a lock and key, like a really convoluted, shitty lock and key. But yeah, I really enjoyed level design at that point, and took some time outside of class to like, what goes into level design, like, what are good practices for level design, what are some really good examples of level design in games that I play and stuff like that. And then I came across, I don't remember what class it was or when, but it was a class taught by the Marinowskis.
Those were two classes leading up to mine. The level design was right before mine, and then Derek's was right before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Marinowskis class, one of the so Derek would do a thing after each lecture where he would sit down and just do something random, like a random little project. You had the choice of like doing your lab work or whatever, or you could like sit down and follow along, watch along, whatever. And one of the days, he decided to do like fire particle system with his little chicken wing particles, and something about that was like fascinating to me. And from there, I kind of dove into VFX in all my free time. And I never stopped, and that's how I got my VFX interest. It was entirely by accident, and honestly, without that, I'm not sure if I would have found that, because VFX wasn't really anything that we touched on much, if at all, in our classes. So totally a fluke of just Derek doing weird shit after class, and I loved it. Yeah, I actually, one of the classes that I spoke to at Full Sail, December, I think, whenever I was last in Florida. I like specifically wanted to thank him for that, because like, without his input, I probably wouldn't have ended up here. And it was really neat, but oh man, I spent way too much time outside of school learning VFX stuff. Many sleepless nights, just kind of trying to learn more stuff about it and making little personal projects and stuff.
Was it too much time though, if that's what you're doing now? Like
that is true. I also definitely took any and every excuse to turn a project at school into a VFX project. Like, we're a design program, but I slammed as much VFX as I could into everything. Like, one of our classes was like, make this mechanic and then iterate upon it throughout the month. And I was like, I'm going to make the portals from Portal so I can make the portals from Portal.
Nice. That's a cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's a good mechanic, but also I get to make some sparkly stuff, and I'm here for that.
Man, I love that, because like I was always curious how you got to this, and that's really cool, because you learned at a time where you're learning, right? And so you were able to like think about that and kind of develop it in that way. I'm always telling people, like, as you're going through school, have a side project where when you learn things, you take that and kind of move it into that side project, so it becomes this, you know, evolving thing that you can later show. But you were doing that every chance that you got. That's really cool, and a way to build some cool skills.
Yeah, and I still do that even. Like, as I find cool things that we do here, like new techniques or new practices that I've never come across before, I have my own personal projects that I'm like, all right, how do I figure out how to make that stuff? Like, I was talking to our engineering team today, our graphics engineering team. I was like, hey, you have this tool. Do you know who made it, so I can bother them and pick their brain so I can like replicate it in Unity, or, you know, just figure out how it works so I can understand it better for work, and also, you know, have my own version that I could mess around with. Yeah, I'm constantly, I mean, I have that lucky trait for myself, at least, is like I really like learning anything. So, you know, as I find cool new things, I just want to learn everything about it and then apply that knowledge somehow, even if it's completely useless. Like, at least I know it.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. So let's talk about you getting to my class. So just so for those that don't know, you learn about mechanics in one class, you build a small kind of interaction, and then in your next class in level design, you make your own like individual level with, you know, completing a certain amount of objectives. And then when you got to my class, you were paired up and you all took your levels and you tried to string them together into something that was a cohesive experience. Do you remember who was in your group?
I do remember, I think I remember almost everyone. It was me, it was Eddie. I'm pretty sure Josh was also in the group, and I want to say Kevin was also in the group. And I want to say Luke was also in the group.
Okay. Luke Gillen?
I think, yes.
Okay.
I think that was the crew.
Okay.
I might be mixing up my final project in that one, and then just throwing Luke in there for shits and giggles.
You might be,
but that sounds right.
Well, there's like 3 big group projects ish, right? Or well, 2, I guess 2 really big ones. This one and then Capstone. But you know, so Luke was there. Yeah. Cool. So I'm always curious, do you remember much about it? Like, because everybody talks about scraps, right? That was the you know, the setup that we used, and most people that come through are like, oh, scraps. Like, what we did was we built essentially a little engine and, you know, tool set for people to use and kind of build experiences out of it. Do you remember much about that part of it, or is it all just kind of a blur at this point?
I remember my level being awful, and I remember, like, the only thing I remember out of the scraps thing was the like little gravity gun thing.
Yep.
And I mostly remember that because, like, one of the lock and key things that I had was you got this room that's blocked, like it's a chain of locking keys to like unlock the thing to progress or whatever. And this room was blocked by something. Once you get inside, you got this like big plank, and you can gravity gun this plank out of the room and over a pit, so you can walk across the pit.
Okay.
But controlling that plank was the worst thing in the world, dude. It was way too long because I had to make it long enough that, you know, you couldn't jump the distance. But it's locked in a room with like a door or a piece of glass or whatever. Like, I don't remember what I used to like shut the room for that room specifically. It was just ass to get it out of the room. It was so bad. And then navigating it to like line up, and then another portion, like, the lock was like, there's a box in a room, so you got to go get the box and put it on this thing so you can climb up onto this thing. And then the platform is like covered in other boxes, so you just got to sit there for an hour moving boxes with the gravity gun. Oh,
so
great level designer.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, it was fun. Like, I only taught in the classroom for like 9 months, like in the physical classroom. Before that, and then after that was online. But like your guys' groups that went through was like a really, really cool experience for me, because all of you that were physically in my class, I still have like relationships with. We still, you know, connect and we talk, and that didn't happen hardly at all for the online students. And I never could quite figure out why it was that big of a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like class was oddly friendly with the instructors. Like we had a whole, like our whole Discord server was just full of emotes we made of all the instructors, and we would share those with the instructors, even though they're making fun of the instructors. I feel like we were oddly close and open with the instructors, and I can see why that's not the norm, because we definitely were a bunch of crackheads. But yeah,
Eddie says, "Remember
nice
the NDA."
To, like, talk with everyone and see everyone as time goes on. Like going and seeing people at like the parks every year. That's always fun. It's always weird. I always feel like I'm gonna walk up to someone and like, why would you remember me? You've had like 8 million students, and when people do actually remember me, I'm like, this is weird. Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, not every student stands out, right? Like. The truth was, there was usually, out of 30 people, there was the 5 that it was clear, they were engaged, they were understanding, they were driven, that kind of thing. And then there was the 5 that were doing absolutely nothing, right? And then there was everybody else in between that was like, there was enough interaction for you to get through what you were doing and learning and that kind of thing. But that was the case for like most of my classes, and you'd end up spending most of your time on those top 5 and bottom 5, because they're the ones that came for the for the attention, essentially, like, or the help. But yeah, it's weird, like how that kind of plays out, and how different it was between the campus and the online ones. The Jameson aura was physically there around us in the room. What do I want to know what that means? But what's this? Eddie said something about an NDA. You're supposed to remember the NDA. Was there something with that Discord group or something? Or do you even know what that's talking about?
No comment.
You don't remember the NDA, or you're not allowed to talk about the NDA. So.
I don't remember it at all.
Next question.
I've forgotten most of it.
The online students didn't get the aura. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Now, Lionel, we all knew about the Discord. Like, we all knew. Don't worry, it's fine. Like, we laughed too. It's cool. It's all good. Like, you can't be, 1, in the entertainment industry, and 2, an instructor, without knowing that kind of stuff's going to happen. Like, we're all just having fun, right? Like, it's all good.
Yeah, especially when it's mostly like 19-year-old shitheads.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do what our name suggests.
It's true. And it's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be. So as you're moving through, was there a point through your degree that you struggled? Like, or did you feel like you kind of were able to figure it out as you were going, and you were kind of just moving along and figuring things out?
Yeah, I had a couple classes that were rough. I mean, the degree as a whole was not necessarily easy, but like I had A's and B's, I think, in every class except for I failed 2 classes. I retook the level design class. As I said, my level was kind of shit. My second one was much better, but that I leaned a little too much into like VFX stuff. I wanted basically like water manipulation. Like, you have this whole map of like, you have to move this water to fill this bucket to like weigh it down to like lift a door. Like, there's fires in a room and you have to reroute the water to put out the fires and stuff. Like, I was not going to make that work with my non-existent knowledge of any of those potential systems. But I was ambitious, and I got a good grade on that one.
Nice.
And then when I got to your class, I made the shitty level.
Nice.
But yeah, I struggled with that class. That one was rough. And then Programming Foundations 2 or whatever, the class in Unreal Engine, that one was rough.
Was that Lebo?
That was bad.
Did you have Lebo in it? Yeah,
I failed that one and had to take it again.
A lot of people failed that class. Like, it was a big...
I was very familiar with everyone failing that class. Yeah, it was rough. But those were the 2 classes that I failed. And those were rough. But otherwise, I was doing well. And nice. I didn't feel like I struggled an unordinary amount. Out of ordinary, you know what I mean?
You didn't struggle extraordinarily?
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, that's good. So then, as you were like moving toward your capstone, your final project, is most people would call it, Did you guys get to decide your groups? Do you remember if you picked who was in your team or if it was random?
I feel like we did, because I know I ended up with many of the people I had worked with before. I mean, I guess I would have worked with most people before anyways, given, you know, our small group of folks was traveling together through most of the degree.
Right.
I feel like we chose. That sounds accurate enough. Or maybe
They're saying in the chat you did. It was the first class
yeah,
to choose.
trust
Josh
them.
is saying.
They probably know what they're talking about. I don't.
Group interview. Let's get everybody.
Yeah.
Nice. And I always feel like that last project is where things really kind of come together for people. Like and then like throughout the degree, most people are like, I don't understand why I'm going to use this, or this one piece is too difficult. I don't want to focus on it. I want to do this other thing. It's like, listen, all this stuff is going to come together. So when you do this project, and you're going to start to understand where you fit and where your strengths are, and how to work with others and that kind of stuff. So what was that like for you? Like, did you kind of feel like it was an enjoyable experience at the end, or was it like a stressful thing to get you through to the end?
It was a shit show.
Yeah,
but nice. A fun shit show. I think we talked about it a bit, or Josh talked about it a bit, but we changed what our project was like 4 times, and we restarted it entirely over and over again. And I took every excuse again to make it a VFX project for me and not a design project. So I was doing like the minimum requirement of design work so that I could fill the rest of my time with VFX work.
Did it look good though? Did you make it look good? Okay.
I look back on stuff that I made for Lightfall and I'm like, that's so bad. How did they let me ship that?
That just means you're getting better.
Yeah, it's that progress of like, you know, now I know what I did wrong and how I can be better. But yeah, like at the time I was like, this is the hottest shit I've ever seen. This is so good. And then, you know, I start putting together my portfolio and I'm like sweating because I was like, this is the best I can do. What?
You're always going to be your biggest critic too, though, right?
Yeah.
And when you're doing something in production, it's like, it's not just how great can I make it, it's how great can I make it with the time that I have, and you know, all of those things weigh in on what the end result is going to be. But man, it's I get it though. I look back at some of my level designs and stuff and I'm just like, oh, that was a real bad choice. But then I just use it to teach people, right? I'm like, hey, don't do this. Like man.
Yeah, there was definitely some rough stuff that I put together that I was very proud of.
I want to see the VFX in your final project. I need to go see if I can track that down somehow. And,
man, it's probably on my not updated at all portfolio website.
I hope that's all that's on your website. Like that.
There's most of my projects that I didn't hate were on there. I know Honor Brawl, I think, was the name of our project. I know Honor Brawl is on there. And there's some good stuff in there. Like that, there's some things where I was like, man, I had a really good sense of timing, or like a really good sense of like, you know, silhouette or whatever, or like, you know, relaying information with color or whatever. And then there's some things that I was like, what was I doing? Like I know there's one thing that I thought was like incredibly cool. There's like this teleport effect for some wizards or something like that. And I learned about motion blur post-processing, and I was like, oh man, let's get some motion blur in there. And my solution was just spin this thing at Mach 3 and get it to look like just a smudge on a camera lens. It was really bad. Yeah, ooh. But it came together. Surprisingly, even though we restarted several times, it came together.
Nice. All right, I've got some questions that I want to ask you that I call the dev round. It's questions that I ask everybody. But before we get that, I think I want to get to kind of your end at Full Sail. I think that'd be kind of a good time to, you know, to kind of finish that up. So as you were finishing your project, what was the very end like? And had you already started looking for work?
I don't think I started looking for work until after I graduated. Or at least not applying for places. I might have been looking for places, but didn't do any applications until after leaving. Because I was actually in the last month I was moving between my apartment, and then I moved in with Logan and another friend of ours. So I was pretty busy with that at that time, so I didn't put a bunch of effort into the other stuff. And I was also, cramming in as much as I could on that project, as well as just learning more VFX stuff.
Nice.
I think I didn't really start pushing for applying to stuff until I graduated in June, I want to say. So it would have been November, I think, is when I really started pushing for applying to places, and like would spend like my whole week would just be like basically a 9 to 5 of get up, put together applications, put together like resume, whatever, clean up my portfolio, all that stuff, and then get stuff out the door. Yeah, so it was a good bit before I put in my due diligence and trying to do anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, if you can do that, that's a good way to do it. Focus on school, get it done, like make sure. But a lot of people are like, I need to have a job as soon as soon as I'm done here. So a lot of people start 6 months ahead of graduation. So I'm always curious, like when you started, and we'll definitely dig into this more because I'm really curious kind of how that whole process went for you and how long it took and everything. But before we get to that, it's time to do the dev round. You ready for this?
All right, hit me.
These are tough. No, they're not tough at all. All right, first question. What is your favorite game of all time and why?
This is a tough question because I am terrible at making favorites of anything.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. I might have to say Halo 2 because it was one of the first 2 games I played. I don't remember if I played Halo 1 or Halo 2 first. We played them both at the same time at the camp. So it was not only like extremely influential in that regard, but also like has been one of my favorite games since then. And I constantly go back to it, and the series in general. I replay it at least once a year. I play it all the time. Yeah, I love the Halo games. I go through them all the time. And I think Halo 2 might be my favorite. We'll see. It might change in 20 minutes, but for now, I'll say Halo 2.
I mean, it's probably the best of them, So
Yeah.
I mean, it stands to reason. The chat says your favorite game is Tetris. So
Oh, I do love Tetris. Tetris is my shit. I love Tetris so much. I played that all the time at school. I had it on my laptop, on my phone. I had it on my Xbox. I have it on my PC. I play it constantly. I love that shit. I have, I think, 2 versions of Tetris downloaded on my phone right now.
Did you play Effect, Tetris Effect?
I have, and I actually don't like it that much,
Oh,
which
really?
is wild because it's like all sparkly and pretty and all the VFX, but it is too much to me. Like, it is distracting. I struggle to actually keep track of what I'm doing in the game.
Yeah.
Or like you'll be, trying to line stuff up, and then suddenly like the texture treatment of everything is just completely different, and I struggle to keep that straight in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm so used to like, the square is yellow, you got the Z is green, the S is red, whatever. I probably got those wrong, and I'm probably gonna get made fun of, but you get the idea.
I had the same problem. Like, I am a huge Tetris fan back from the original. Like, it was a big game for me. Effect, I had the same issues, but I also just found out you can play it on the PSVR too. So
I know I want to
give
try
that
it
a
so
try.
bad.
I'm gonna try that next week when I'm on vacation. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. But I had the same thing. Like, it's pretty overwhelming. Like, there's a lot going on, and it's kind of hard to focus in on what's important.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I want to like it, and there's definitely like a lot of cool stuff about it, like fun game modes. I also enjoy co-op and stuff. We actually have every year here we have a celebration called Pentathlon, where we just take the day to just like mess around, play games with each other. We do like friendly competition. Like, the studio's broken out into teams. So So you like represent your team in your games throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, they award a team a trophy for the year for whoever was like the most successful in this year's pentathlon events. Last year, the year before, was one of the events was Tetris Effect, and I was like, oh man, I'm so in, but I ended up not getting to play. I played with some other coworkers, some other game, which I was bummed about. But that was exciting to know that there's other Tetris fans around here, so I got to snoop around and find other people to play with.
There you go. Yeah, I played quite a bit of Tetris 99 too when it was when that was happening on the Switch, and it was a fun, like there was too much going on as far as like I wasn't strategically like, oh, I'm gonna hit you with something, and I was just focusing on my own, and letting the rest of it kind of happen. But it's interesting to like, you always get down to like, all right, it's me and this other guy, and like we're gonna figure out what's going on here. But that's a whole element to it that I'd never experienced before that, and added an extra level of urgency.
Yeah, I actually got a NSO subscription specifically for that game, and then I never played it.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. Still paying for that, but it's okay. Now I get Mario maps.
There you go. Yeah. Ask in the chat, is Tetris your favorite movie? I haven't seen Tetris yet, but I've heard good things.
I haven't seen it. I was moderately taken aback that was a movie that someone was making. But
I agree.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I just haven't. I'm terrible at watching movies.
Same. I can sit down and watch 10 episodes of a show, but if I want to put on a movie, it feels like a commitment. So
it's such a like mental hurdle for me. I could watch 3 times the length of a movie in shows, easy, no problem, like no hesitation. But the second it's like one lump sum, I'm like, I don't know. What if I have to pee? Like,
dude, I am 100% with you. It's real. It's like a real struggle, man. So wait, do you also have ADHD?
I don't know. I've learned over the years that Tourette's has a lot of overlap with a lot of other disorders or disabilities or whatever. I don't know the name.
Yeah.
So conditions. I have a lot of ADHD-like tendencies. I have a lot of OCD-like tendencies. I also seem to have a lot of autistic tendencies, so I might be on the spectrum. Who knows? I'm thinking about maybe going and getting tested. We'll see.
All right.
But regardless, I got a lot of random shenanigans to deal with, and not sure how to handle them. As I learn more about ADHD and OCD separately, I'm learning the overlap and also new methods of approaching the issues that I have, or approaching the like weird quirks that I have. So that's my main reason for like being interested in what are the I guess traits of those things, and how do they correlate to me in my day-to-day life, because it's fun.
Yeah, I have the same kind of thing where over the last few years I've learned and acknowledged that ADHD is living in me, right? Like I'm full of it. So, but then the other things too, like there's some overlaps into some other areas where recently I've been thinking a lot about how in my head things have to happen certain ways for me to feel comfortable with them, and I'm like, that's a spectrum thing. So like how far on that am I now? So like now I'm starting to wonder about some of that stuff, but ultimately all that really matters is finding out how do you cope, how do you excel, how do you and the truth is, when I look back at my life, even though ADHD has a lot of struggles, it's also the thing that has got me to where I am, right? Like it's that the way that it kind of works in me it's been interesting, and so now I just kind of look at things and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, I wonder what's causing that, and then I'll dig into that and try and figure that part out. So, but also everyone, highly recommend therapy. It's a great thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I did that for a couple years. It turned out that whoever I was meeting with was not a good therapist for me, but it did teach me what didn't work for me, so I could learn what did work for me on my own. But yeah, like at the bare minimum, check it out. Definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can learn a lot even if it's not directly through the therapy. It's definitely a useful resource for sure.
Yeah. And ADHD specifically, I think works well in this industry for those of us that have it, because the whole like the getting bored part never happens because every day there's a new problem to solve.
Yeah.
And then even our flow of development is changing, you know, pre-production and then early production, and now we're closing, and then now we're back doing it again. Like it's like the changes they feel good. It's nice. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of the things that I've learned in managing and maintaining my Tourette's and stuff like that over the years, and whatever ADHD, OCD overlap I may have, has definitely formed me into the person that I am and has made me better at certain things. Like I've become a very analytical person. I like to pick things apart and figure out how they work and why they work.
Yeah.
It's probably part of why I'm so interested in learning things. And all of those things have built to be very good tools for me to use for working in games in general, or just being a, you know, useful adult.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely very helpful, blessing and a curse kind of situation.
Yeah.
Plenty annoying on the day-to-day basis, but it's made me into a useful individual.
Yeah. And the nice thing is we live in a society now where we're finally acknowledging these kind of things and understanding them and acclimating them into the, you know, into our day-to-day lives, and everybody's more understanding. And I think that that's going to help us a lot going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And it's another benefit of that is more people realizing A, that it's okay to have those things, but B, that they do have those things,
right,
even if it's not to the same extent, or like, you know, it's all the range of all these things. You know, everyone's not going to have like the most hardcore traits and symptoms of whatever it is that they have,
right,
but you know, that doesn't make it any less of having, you know, ADHD, OCD, Tourette's, whatever. And everyone handles it their own ways, but you know, it's making you who you are and helping you, you know, navigate life, even if it's somewhat of an obstacle. You know, as long as you learn from it, that's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great outlook too. I like that. All right, next question. And this is a very like a personal reflection type question, but when did you feel like you had made it in game development?
Oh man, I live in perpetual state of imposter syndrome, but I do feel like I've been doing well for myself, like just talking with my coworkers and like hearing their positive, I guess, like, you know, image of me. Like the other day I had a coworker come in who usually is working remote, but they came in for the day, and they were talking about when we come back on site at some point, they really want to sit next to me and one of my other coworkers, because they were like, you guys do these things that I don't really understand, and I really want to learn that from you. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just fumbling through this shit. But the fact that you see me as a source of knowledge is very nice to hear.
Yeah.
And you know, I got a lot of rapid promotions after starting here, and all of my, you know, reviews from coworkers have been very positive of me and just talking about like how much they like me being around, which is wild. And you know, that's felt very reassuring that I'm doing well and I'm doing the right thing. They've given me roles of like, you know, leading teams and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like I'm still fumbling through it, but clearly people trust me enough. And these are people that, you know, indirectly I've admired for a long time. You know, like I'm in charge of the ambient effects content for Destiny, and the guy who was doing it before me has been doing it since like Halo 1, if I understand.
Oh, wow.
And was basically the only one doing it that whole time. And now he's left his baby with me, and I'm like, that's wild. That like this,
that's
this
some
is
trust
being trusted to me. That feels like a lot that you're handing to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also like, you know, it's reassuring because it seems like, you know, the guy trusts me enough to give me this thing that, you know, no one else has really worked on as consistently as him. And dude knows his stuff, so he must trust me to know my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
Like that's I also deal with imposter syndrome, and it doesn't get any easier. So keep that in mind. 22 years in, and I still feel the same. But it's also one of those things that drives me, right? You know, and makes me make sure that I'm doing as much as I can at all times. So
Yeah, definitely.
I get that.
I take that imposter syndrome as a way to like, if I feel like I'm not doing well enough in this place, how can I do better? You know, what is it that my coworkers or my teammates or whatever are doing that I feel is better than where I'm at, and how can I get there? You know, learning from those around me and trying to apply that to my own day-to-day work life or life in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also hear from all my coworkers, even ones who are like have been running at Bungie's content for 20, 25 years, whatever. They still have imposter syndrome, and I'm like, you guys have been making like Titanic games of the games industry for so long, and you're telling me you don't feel like you know what you're doing? That's wild.
Yeah, it's true, man. I always simultaneously feel like I'm an expert and I have no idea what I'm doing, like at the same time, like all the time. So it's wild. And for those of you that don't know and don't have imposter syndrome, for those of us that do, giving us any kind of validation is a huge thing. Like it makes a world of difference. Just today, someone I've never had a conversation with reached out to me. It was one of our engineers to compliment me on a page that I'd written about a feature and like how to access it and like how to, you know, debug it in game. And we're like, this is one of the best things that I've ever seen written about, you know, this kind of thing. And I'm just like, thank you. Like I like that. You have no idea how much that means to me. Like that. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. I had, the other day I was just working on my own ambient effects content, just testing some stuff out, making some new content. And our a group of our like community team was sitting behind me, who I don't know. I don't talk to them because they're not a team that I generally interface with.
Right.
And one of them turned over and was like, "What are you doing? That's so cool. I'm sorry for snooping, but like, you know, just like starting to ask me stuff and like complimenting my work." And I was like, "This is a lot to take in, but thank you." I did not expect people to be complimenting me on this thing that I've been staring at for 20 minutes, wondering why it looks so bad. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, man, it makes it's like made my week, you know, like I'm gonna feel good for literally a week because of that. So it's good.
I was riding that high. Ooh, it was so good.
We're gonna be careful because now we're gonna have people complimenting us all the time just because we know we like it, and then we'll see how that goes. It's a terrible problem.
Please make me feel awkward as all hell.
Right, I don't
know how to take a compliment, but it does feel nice.
That's the other problem is I don't know how to take a compliment. So
yeah, I'm like, thanks, nice shirt.
Right. Oh man. I didn't realize how similar we are. I love these conversations because like obviously every time I have somebody on here, it's almost always someone that I've had some history with. And but usually I come out of it being like, oh man, like I didn't know that. Like I learned so much about someone during this chat, and I love it. Like that's the thing, honestly, that keeps me doing this, because every week I'm like, I know I'm gonna enjoy this 2 hours regardless of anything else. So man, I love it. All right, next question. What's your passion in game development?
Ooh, I don't know. Like I mentioned previously, games has always been like super important to me. And because it was something that helped me manage my Tourette's, I feel like I know this games in general is something that is very beneficial to people all over the place, and helps people, you know, live a life that they're happy with. And one thing that I love about Bungie is how much effort we put into like inclusivity and representation and stuff, but like not for the sake of like, you know, trying to meet a metric or something like that. Like we have characters that are just like who they are. We're not trying to make it a point that they are you know, whatever it is. And I appreciate that. I know that's very helpful for people who identify with whatever it is that we're representing. And along with that, just like having something that means a lot to you can be make a huge difference in your life and just how you get through your day-to-day stuff. So having a hand in that stuff means a lot to me, just because, you know, that stuff always meant a lot to me from when I was younger, like experiencing it. So being able to give that to other people is nice. I don't know if that answers your question at all, but
no, that's
definitely something that I enjoy a lot about working in games. Also just learning. There's always new shit to learn. The industry's always growing and new tech is always coming out. So getting the chance to learn new things and make cool new stuff is always a good time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like that's there's so much about this industry that you can love, right? Like there's so many parts of it. That's why I asked this question, because I'm curious, like what keeps you going? Like for me, it's problem solving. Like every time I boot up my computer for the day, I know there's problems that I can solve and check off a list. That is so gratifying to me. Like that's like that just, it feels good to do that day to day. And so like it can be the smallest of things that kind of keeps you passionate about what you're doing and doing it for so long. I missed doing it full time when I was teaching, and that's, you know, obviously the reason that I came back to doing it. But you know, it's interesting how there's so many different things that can click for each of us, and I'm always curious to hear what that is.
Yeah, I think learning's probably going to be my main thing, just because of, you know, it being a general interest of mine. But there's always new things, and I can always be better at what I'm doing. And there's so much cool stuff you can do in the realm of like games in general. But VFX being, or at least real-time VFX being newer-ish, there's a lot of new things to figure out, and I love that.
I just thought of a new question talking to you that I'm adding right now because of something that you said that made me think of this. I'm okay. I'm adding this into the end. We'll talk about this one in a minute, but just so you know, I just thought of a new one and I like it. All right. But next question, what's your advice to someone who's looking for their first job in the industry?
I'd say, to me, the strongest thing that you can do is be open to learning and not be an ass. People
Dude.
I know are much happier to hire someone who doesn't know something but is willing to learn it, because they're nicer than someone who knows the thing already. Because, you know, no one wants to deal with an asshole every day. If you can like take someone who's nice to be around and make them as knowledgeable as the other person, then that's a win. And portfolio work is very important to me. I mean, I'm in an art thing, so that kind of makes sense. But like a diploma says you can do a thing, but that doesn't mean you can. Like anyone can get through a degree. If you can show you know what you're doing, that's how someone's going to be able to, you know, like test the merit of whatever your word is, of whatever you're saying you can do. Yeah, so I think those are two very important things to focus on, but it's also an obscene amount of luck. It is disgusting how lucky you need to be to get anywhere.
I agree.
This job was pure luck.
Well, I can't wait to talk about that. But
yeah,
but you're right. Like there's so much of it that's just, you know, right place, right time. But you've got to put in the effort. You can't just sit there and expect things to fall in your lap either. So
yeah,
like it's there's definitely luck is definitely a part of it, but you've also got to do the work.
Yeah.
All right. Here's my favorite question out of these so far. If you were born in the year 1870, what kind of job do you think you would have had?
That's a good question. Probably something engineering related, I'd say, or science related, maybe.
Yeah.
I grew up around a lot of. My mom worked at a science museum, not one with like, you know, shit on the walls that you just like oogle at in a quiet room, but they have like interactive exhibits and like, they had like animal handling and stuff like that. Like when she would go to work, I was literally in a crib behind her desk like every day.
Wow.
I fully grew up there, like met so many people in my time, like going to and from there. And it gave me a very strong appreciation for science and that kind of stuff. So if not applied sciences, researching science, I feel like that plays well into my need to learn stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about 2077? We're in the future.
I love VR so much.
Okay.
One of my personal projects, my main personal project, is VR related. And I find VR fascinating. So probably related to whatever the future's VR is, game development for strange augmented virtual mixed whatever reality.
Man, can you imagine what that tech is going to look like in 50 years? Like,
dude, throw me in a freezer and wake me up when it comes around. I'm here for that. That sounds so cool.
I agree. I'm with you on that. Like, it's I can't wait to see it. But we'll hopefully I live long enough to see 50 years from now.
Hopefully that doesn't turn out like flying cars where we really think it's going to happen, and here we are.
We've supposed to have had flying cars for 30 years now, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh man. All right, who would you recommend I have come on the show next?
I know Josh said it as one of the other people, and I don't think he's been on here yet, but Eddie. You should talk to Eddie if he hasn't been here yet.
Okay.
I'll hound him too, because I know he's already been recommended once at least.
All right. Yeah.
Dude needs to listen, Get it together, Ed. Come on.
We're going to make that happen. We can't have a double recommendation without it happening, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. That's good.
That's the pressure, buddy. Good luck. Don't hate me. I love you.
All right. You ready for the question I just thought of?
Yes, I'm very excited.
And I've got to think about how I want to word this question, like going forward. But essentially, how is the emergence of AI affecting your role in the industry?
I think AI is great if used in a ethical manner. Like there's a lot of the issues of, like if it's just straight up ripping people's work, because then you're just running into issues of like, this thing can do it way faster than a person could.
Right.
So,
right.
You could run into that issue a lot. Also, like, if a studio is utilizing it, right, like then you run into the issue of like, what if it stole someone's original property that's copyright protected, and you don't know that because it's just like, pulling from its resources, and now you got legal troubles because you're pulling this, stuff that you shouldn't be using. I think it's great for brainstorming and like creating ideas and stuff like that. As of right now, at least, I don't think it's going to be beneficial for like creating end products, and it's definitely still going to need like human involvement at some point.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people talked about the like Corridor Digital thing that they did on like they basically like made an anime thing with some video and some AI stuff. I don't know. I barely watched the video. But I do know that there was a lot of stuff that like, AI still isn't getting right. Like, timing is a little off, things look a little wonky, proportions are off, like things get like jumbled mashed potatoes. I mean, it's improving. It's better than it was like 6 months ago or whatever, but I don't know if it'll ever get to a point. Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever get to a point where it'll be able to do at least like art jobs like from scratch, or at least not without someone at least checking it over and doing a final pass.
And that's where I think the best utilization is going to be, right? Like it needs to have a human leader, right? Where you're like, hey, here's the thing that I'm trying to do. How do I do that? Or hey, I need this thing created. Can you create this piece for me? Those kind of things. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine recently. I was like, imagine a world where we have a fully integrated AI into our internal systems, right? Where it sees our Jira, it sees our Confluence, it sees our code base, right? And I could say to it, hey, I need to implement this thing. What nodes should I use? How should I script this? What things are available to me? Or hey, what's the current state of this thing in the open world, right? Like, you know, and like having a thing to answer questions for me instead of pinging my buddy and being like, hey, can you step away from the thing you're engrossed in to answer this question for me?
Yeah.
And it has like updated information. Like that to me is the dream. Like if I've always got an AI buddy that can answer my questions, that sounds awesome.
I think it's also a beautiful tool for automation, like just making jobs easier for people, or like, you know, like recurring tasks, like scheduling stuff. Like, you know, we have to do this thing in this amount of time. This is how much each thing's going to cost. Can we do it? Can we not do it? You know, like you can build stuff like that right now without AI. It's just like, you know, someone has to sit there and write it out and do all the calculations in an Excel sheet or whatever. But you know, having something do that work for you would be great. It would save people a lot of time because making Excel sheets sucks. I don't think anyone likes doing that.
No. If I could tell AI to do it, that sounds amazing. Like I need a spreadsheet that handles X and Y. Like, oh, there it's done. Like that's, I think that's like, it is an assistant, I think is like the real dream, but that's not where it's going to stop. We're going to end up with Skynet and everything's going to fall apart and like, cause we can't help ourselves. So yeah. All right, you have completed the dev round.
Oh man,
that's good
stuff.
It's good stuff.
I'm glad I survived.
You did. Barely, but you survived. No. So we got about 20 minutes left. We might need another episode, but for now, let's dig in and let's see how far we can get into your time getting that first job and kind of how that stuff went. So I'm curious, when you started looking, what were you looking for? You've graduated, you've kind of situated, and you're now focused on your job search. What were you looking for, and how were you looking?
Yeah. So my main thing was looking for stuff that I think I could do. Okay. You know, I have my experience in game design, so I could leverage that if I needed to. Were
you looking for design positions, or were you looking for VFX?
I was open to design positions because I at least had that experience of like, you know, going to school for that stuff. Yeah. And like, you know, I figured it might be a little more difficult to get VFX positions because I'm fully self-taught. Like, you know, I got the chicken wing experiment from the Marinowskis, and then that's the extent of my like formal training. So yeah, I figured, you know, if it's someplace that's gonna care a little bit more about a like a document that says like I did this thing, I know this thing, then I'm gonna have to look for design positions. So I was open to design positions. I was hoping for VFX positions, and I was open to QA as well, since I know like a lot of people talk about that being a good starting point.
Right. Yeah.
But I figured, you know, having that design knowledge might help there. Of like, you know, I know some information about design, so I can, you know, test with a design mindset or something of the sort. So that was kind of my main goal. I did have a couple projects, now that I recall, actually right around the time I was graduating. I had 2 contract jobs. One of them was to make like a little mobile game. Another one was to work with it's called school system, with a project for special needs education to help teaching job skills. And I pitched an idea of a VR method of learning, because a lot of the schools, the way they teach like job skills is they set up these mock-up scenarios of like, this is a grocery store job, or this is a, you know, cash register job or whatever, and they have to like set up a mock-up version of it and run through it. If you have it in VR, you know, you just put on the headset, choose the version you want to run. It's a lot faster, a lot more iterative, and then having an option for desktop as well, just for people who have like sensory issues with things on their face, and other stuff like that. But yeah, that was the other job. Those just ended up never panning out. One of them, the person who, the mobile game that I was working on, it was intended to be for cancer patients, because the person who was contracting me was a cancer patient. And they wanted something that was like fun and enjoyable but didn't require a lot of like brain power. They were talking about how there's a thing that they really refer to as chemo brain, where you're just kind of like, working on stuff is a lot. It takes a lot of energy, especially after all your chemotherapy stuff. So they wanted something that could help people dealing with that was just like fun to do, and a way to pass the time in a part of your life that's kind of shit. But they ended up unfortunately passing away in the middle of working on that. And yeah, so that project wasn't able to pan out. And then the school one, the special needs education one, it was involved in the school system. And if you're not already aware, school system stuff takes forever to do anything. So
sure does.
It was just like taking ages to get anything done. And I had to make money at some point. So I ended up having to get a separate job to fill the gap in between. But yeah, and in that time I was still applying to other places, like I said, design jobs, VFX jobs, QA jobs. I had like one big application period around that November time period that I was talking about, and I don't think I heard back from any of them. And I put out like hundreds of applications.
Dude,
like,
November
I
is
put out
such
so
a
much.
terrible time, right? Like in November, you've pretty much shipped what you're going to ship that year. Like most of the things that are hiring are like, we're hiring earlier in the year to try and like close this thing out. Like the fall is rough. Like it really is. Generally.
Yeah, it was pretty dookie. I put in a lot of effort and got nothing out of it. Oh, I also was talking to Remy at one point about doing VFX on floppy. But that
I hear that's still available. Like he's been making that game for like 10 years. Like
yeah, something like that. But I was talking with Remy about potentially working on that. But I was sending information back and forth with him through Facebook. I don't really use Facebook for anything, and it seemed to be not liking any of the files that I was trying to send back and forth. So I don't know if he ever got any of the things that I sent him. But yeah, at some point I just didn't hear back from him, and I was like, I need money. I need a job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what did you do? Like you're at a point where you're like, I need money. Like what?
Yeah. So I stayed in Orlando for a little bit, living with Logan, as I mentioned, and that was when I was going through like my applications process and going through all that stuff. And then after a while, I was like, all right, if I don't have any jobs lined up by this point, I need to sort something out. So I ended up going back to Coral Springs, where I grew up. And worked at a electronics repair shop like I did in high school, and used that as my method of consistent pay.
Yeah.
And stay with my family to save some more money.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I did that as a way to like, have money to exist, and then save money for whenever I have to go wherever else I want to go.
Let's pause here for one moment, because I think what you did is a great thing, and a lot of people need to do that, right? Especially getting out of school, you should think it's going to take 6 months to a year to get a position realistically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's never. It's rarely going to happen that you're set up from graduation.
Right. But the problem is so many people do that and then they never step past it, right? Like you get distracted by something else, or you get comfortable in what you're doing. Like when you're doing this, if you really want to make games, you've got to keep that as your focus, right? Like you got to figure out, how am I going to transition from the thing that's allowing me to survive to the thing that's going to make me thrive.
Yeah. And while I was working there, like I said, saving money, just doing my thing to get by. A lot of my time outside of that was spent learning new things, improving my skills. Like that's where I learned a lot of my VFX knowledge before I came here. Is in that time period where I was working a job and then doing game design, like pursuing game design as my side job, basically, because I wanted to make that my main job. And a lot of long days and long hours of just like, trying to improve, trying to learn, trying to be better. And just trying to get to a point where I was confident enough in my skill to start applying elsewhere. And it got to a point eventually. I worked at that repair shop for like 2 years, a little shy of 2 years, and then I left. And I took the time to focus almost solely on improving my skills, getting the stuff I needed, and just pumping out applications.
What made you do that? Because I feel like if somebody told me, "Oh, I've been doing something else for 2 years," I would have been like, "You're not ever going to do this, right?" Like you've settled into something outside of making this industry work for you.
Mm-hmm. In all that time, I was still working on that stuff, but I felt like I wasn't putting in enough effort, or I wasn't putting in the effort I needed to get anywhere I wanted to be in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
But also on top of that, the job was exhausting. I'm not built for customer service, and we got some of the rudest, shittiest people at that job. Like, we're there, like, my job was to fix people's things, right? But, like, it always came out as if it was my fault their things were broken. I'm there to help you. Why are you yelling at me?
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
It's not my fault it's broken, but I'm going to try and help you fix it. Like,
yeah. That job was a nightmare, and it was stressing me out a lot. Like, I loved the job aside from that. I was working with some of my best friends. I got to, spend time hanging out with them and doing stupid shit all day. And, we had a lot of broken things laying around that were broken and going in the trash. So I got to smash things all the time. That was great.
Nice.
Yeah, but if I didn't have to deal with customers, I would have been so happy continuing to do that job. It's the customers that kind of burnt me out from it, and I couldn't do it anymore. I had to leave. It was stressing me out way too much. Like, I would come home and just not have any motivation to do any of the work that I wanted to do. Like, and if I do that for long enough, I'm never going to progress in games. I'm never going to have that skill that I need to get a job. So I had to make a decision, and my decision was to leave because I was sick of it.
Man, it's understandable, because the truth is, in customer service, you're only getting people that have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And people suck, right? Like just in general, like people suck, and like dealing with that side of people exclusively is exhausting. Like, so I totally understand how you felt. Like that's not fun.
Yeah, that whole job though did make me kind of like reinforce the like a kind of memey idea, but also like definitely a legitimate idea of like everyone should work customer service at least once, so you understand how shitty it is to be on that side of the counter. So maybe you won't be that asshole. God, I hope. Like, yeah, no, I was understanding before that because I just am rather passive and try to be a nice person. But after that, oh man, I will wait at a Chipotle for 45 minutes for my food if I see that they're busy. Like, I don't know, my food was ready. It's supposed to be ready 45 minutes ago, but if I got nowhere to be, I'm not gonna rush you.
Yeah, it's amazing how just being in that situation makes such a difference, because the people that get super annoyed and have those interactions with you, they've never been on that side of the coin. Like, it's clear that they have no idea what because you're there to help them. Like, your whole goal is like, I want to help you fix your problem. Why are you mad at me?
Yeah. Oh, and I dealt with people like threatening us and stuff, and like not even like both like personally and like the business. And I'm like, if you're threatening the business, why do I give a shit? I'm just an employee.
Right.
Like, you think you're gonna shut the business down? Cool. Go for it. Have fun. You're threatening me, I'll call the cops. Like, just go, leave, please. I don't want to deal with you.
I'll never shop here again. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
That's exactly
I don't want to
what I wanted to hear from you.
Right. Oh man. So you now have this desire to kind of refocus and get back in. What did that mean for you? You said you left that job.
Yep.
What did you do kind of to push yourself toward the re-entry?
I spent a lot of time finding out, like, okay, these are the tools and I guess like techniques and stuff that seem to be important for a VFX artist.
So you're now all VFX.
Them.
Like you're like, I'm going to do this, but it's going to be VFX now.
Yeah, that was my main focus is like, you know, I've already put in a bunch of time doing not VFX. Like if I get a job in not VFX, cool, I'll still go for that. But I would really prefer VFX at that point.
Okay.
And so like I learned like, you know, Maya is very important, you know, learning how to model, you know, learning texture creation and material creation. So I spent some time learning substance. You know, I just figured out like what are the things that are showing up on all of these job applications that like if I know them, that's giving me a leg up.
So did you look for what tools they were using?
These things.
You're like, did you like look for what the jobs were looking for tools wise and then learn those tools?
Yeah, not specifically like, oh, this job's looking for this, so let me go learn this to do this application. It was like, this is what seems to be a trend across all of these. So these are probably the things that I should focus on. Or even just general concepts. Like one would say learn Maya, one would say learn 3ds Max, one would say learn you know, ZBrush or whatever. Like the overarching connection is, you know, I need to learn modeling, so let me learn modeling. So I tried to take that information and drill into learning those things, and you know, even if I can't do a great job with those things, at the bare minimum I can show I'm willing to put in the time and effort to learn those things for a job. So like one of the things that I thought was a good idea is a project that showcased a lot of the things that I was looking for. So like right before my major application wave that I was doing around that time, I decided, all right, I need to do something that covers all these bases, or at least most of these bases. So I decided to make a model of the plasma cutter from Dead Space from scratch. I made the model in Maya. I made all the materials and stuff in Substance Designer. I applied the materials or the substances to the model in Substance Painter, took all those files and brought them into Unity, and then made all the, you know, stuff in Unity to render it out. All the different like packed textures and stuff like that to get like, you know, ambient occlusion, normals, you know, like figuring out like all the things that I would probably need to know for a VFX artist to make a product from beginning to end. And I wanted that to be a project. So that was, I think, the last project that I did on my portfolio before my job here. Yeah, so that was kind of my goal around that time, is like learn as much as I can, apply it all, get it on my portfolio, and then just start pumping applications out.
Nice. If you were doing that today, what tools would you suggest that people focus on?
For the VFX side of things, honestly, the things that I did.
Yeah, still the same?
Maya was, Maya, I mean, we use Max. We also have the option of Maya.
Wait, does Max still exist? I thought that was...
I hate it so much.
I thought they combined years ago. Like, is that like...
So Adobe... Not Adobe.
Autodesk bought. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Right.
But they're still separate.
They are. Okay. I haven't seen Max in years.
It makes me want to vomit violently every time I open it. I hate Max so much.
Is Max so back when they were separate? My impression was that Max was better for like terrain generation or like static type stuff, and Maya was better for animation. Is that still true? Like, was that ever true? Like,
no idea.
Okay.
I know. So it seems like Max's strength is like a non-destructive workflow. Okay. So you get like a stack of parameters and modifiers that you can apply, and at any point you can go back to an earlier point in the stack and change it, and then that change will propagate down your stack. Okay. So you can, you know, go back and change things in your history of your model that you're working on. Well, I know Maya has history of like what things you've done to each thing, but I don't know if it works in the same way. Like I get the strength of Max, and honestly, the thing that I hate about it is I don't know how to use it. Like it's the same reason I hated Maya when I first started using it. Like if I take more time to learn it, I'm sure I'll be fine. And I've learned it a couple times since I started here, but I don't use it often enough to remember how to use it. So every time I go back to it, I forget and I hate it again. But yeah, that I can see the strength and the value in that compared to Maya. But like I also run into the fact of like I just want to like divide this mesh in half. Like why is it so hard to just cut this mesh? Like I don't know where the tools are. I don't know how they work. I can't do like the simplest things. Yeah, I have such a headache with that program.
Oh, man, have you used Houdini at all?
I've not, and that was one of those programs that I really wanted to learn before starting here. We don't really use it here. Like we have access to it, but I know we just don't use it a ton. I do know someone just did an exploration with Houdini stuff a couple months ago, and we're all interested in it. We just don't use it ever.
Our team should talk. Like you know, like we use Houdini a lot, and it is a really, really powerful tool.
Are you guys a Sony team?
Yeah, we're on the same team, bro.
That means we can talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk.
All right. Houdini does a lot of cool stuff. I wanted to learn it before coming here, and I just wanted to get that first like plasma cutter project out the door. And if I got nothing out of that, Houdini was next on the list. That and popcorn effects was another one. I think I might be wearing my popcorn shirt today. I don't know.
Nice.
I met them at GDC, and I was like, "This is so cool! I'm gonna learn so much more of this." And then I never touched it.
That's the dream, though, right? Like you're like, I've got a thing that I when I have time, I'm gonna do it, so it keeps me motivated and thinking about it. But I'm gonna do the thing I have to do every day. So
yeah, I think for VFX at least, if people are interested in VFX, some modeling software, whatever modeling software you want to use, preferably one that's popular. But like plenty of people use Blender, and Blender applies elsewhere as well.
Yeah,
and it's free.
Yep.
Maya is obscenely expensive. I only used it because I have my student license.
Right.
Max works great, but yeah, and then for VFX, like knowing shaders, like shader graphs or shader programming, I not only know node-based shader editing, but I also know HLSL, because that's how, well, up until recently, that's how you made shaders in Unity, which is what I mainly worked in. Now they have a shader graph, and then yeah, just like knowing how to make materials and combine them and apply them to stuff in Engine. Making sure you know how to do stuff in real time, because real time and pre-rendered are very different. Like you do a lot of the same stuff, but you have to make things look good on a budget with real time.
That's a really good way to say that. Like it's when you're pre-rendered, the world's your oyster, man. Like you can load it up with whatever you want. But now with so much of our cinematics being in Engine, like it's definitely much more of a balance, as far as like how we're going to spend those resources.
Yeah, definitely worth learning a little bit. Like you don't have to know the specifics of like how costly is this one specific thing, like how many milliseconds is it going to take to render. Like I don't know that shit, and I make things all the time at work. But yeah, like at least having an understanding of like what makes something expensive, like what is overdraw, like what is how many processes does this thing, like is this an expensive thing because it's like grayscale value versus an RGB value? Like there's 2 more channels there, so there's 3 times the amount of information being passed along. Stuff like that, like just understanding the basics of like how can you make things a little bit cheaper even if you don't know the specific values of what's making it expensive, can go a long way. And then VFX is also really important on like timing, motion. Like if you have an understanding of animation, that's really good. You don't have to, you can learn that. Color theory is important. I am so lost with color theory. I try my hardest, but I can't make heads or tails of it.
I'm color blind, so I don't.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. Actually, one of my coworkers, that was a coworker. They don't work here anymore, but they were colorblind. And they did wild shit where they like knew the RGB value, like what color that was. Like so they would do their work of like. I know 0.25, 0.3, 0.7 is magenta or whatever. Wow. And I was like, you're a madman. I don't
That's
know how you're doing that
insane.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have so many wild brainiac coworkers that do like, I have another coworker that can do like vector math off the dome and like know exactly when they've like made mistakes and like fix their mistakes, like don't have to write anything down, like complex math of like, hey, I need this thing to face this other thing while it's also moving. Like, what's the formula for that? And they'll just be like, oh yeah, it's this. Actually, you need to invert this value because if you don't, it's going to be looking the opposite way. It's like, I don't know how you are such a machine, but that's insane.
So for me, that would be a whole page. I need to go back and reference every single time.
So many notes of like, these are like the most basic, simple things that I do all the time, and I can't remember them.
Dude, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I document everything because I know I need to remember how to do it. Like,
my favorite thing is like we have our own little personal folders in our file structure, at least on our personal machines. So you can put stuff in there and you don't have to worry about it breaking the depot because it's never going to go anywhere. So I can do whatever wild experiments I want. So like things that I use all the time, I just throw them in there, and like whenever I need them, I pull them out.
Nice.
Yeah, because if I didn't do that, I'd spend 45 minutes every time I try and do it, trying to remember how to do it again.
Every time. I'm with you. Like every time. Oh, dude. All right, so we've run out of time. So
I told you I ramble a lot. I'm sorry.
No. You haven't rambled at all, and this has been absolutely great. And actually, in the last 5 minutes or so, you've said some stuff that is incredibly insightful and like talks about the difference between someone who is in the industry and iterating and learning, and like the way we think about things now is so different than people who are learning for the first time. And like the way you describe some things over the last few minutes, like shows that difference. And I think people that are interested in learning about it are going to see how we think a little differently once we've been doing this a while. Super valuable stuff. This has been really, really good. I'm super, super happy about how it's gone so far. How do you feel about coming back to talk more about the rest of your time?
I would love to.
Awesome.
I always stress about this stuff. I'm like, oh man, I'm not that great at, public speaking. I don't know how I'm going to manage. And then I always end up just like getting into a flow of just like not shutting up and enjoying myself for whatever reason. So yeah, I'd love to come back, and I would do this as many times as you'd like.
Awesome. Well, then we're definitely going to schedule the next one. Like that's absolutely going to happen. But man, this has been great. I'm going to jump off here, say my goodbyes. You and I will connect and figure out when the next opportunity is for you to come back on. But this has been great, and I really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, of course. Loved being here.
Awesome.